Hey everybody, I am Haley Gray and I want to welcome you to another amazing WEN Talk. I want to introduce what a WEN Talk is. Each month we have 6 amazing speakers, except for December, we have 9. And we do these 20-minute amazing talks. And each of our speakers is an amazing powerhouse in her own right, delivering her own talk and her own specialty and showing off and showcasing to the world what an amazing business owner, person, wonderful, amazing creative being that she is. And today we are about to kick off our February 2023 WEN Talk. I want to introduce PollyAnna Brown and welcome you to the stage, PollyAnna. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage.
Thank you so much for having me. I am overjoyed to be here. And I am so excited to talk about today's topic, which we're going to be talking about how to get publicity in 2023. So for those of you who don't know me, it is so great to meet you. I am PollyAnna Brown. I have been a publicity strategist for quite a long time and a journalist even longer. I've been a journalist for over 11 years, and I have been a storyteller my whole life. So what I want to teach you today is really what publicity is and how it works, how to get it, the things to avoid, as well as the things to look out for, and how to craft a story for yourself that is media worthy and media ready. So the first thing that I want to talk about is really what publicity is. So publicity is not necessarily this name and lights marketing solution. What it really is a fantastic way to generate traffic with outlets who already have your ideal clients ready and waiting for you. They have spent years accumulating trust with their audience. They have spent years developing high-value content that your audience knows that they can trust and implement and work with in order to have a big impact on your ideal clients. So what happens is, when you can get in front of them utilizing these platforms. So some of them are talks like this and live stream shows. You can do podcasts. You can do traditional media, which is more like your Forbes, your Entrepreneur, your Cosmopolitan magazines and publications, features. All those different things are available to you for this kind of work. So that's what I'm talking about with platforms and media outlets. So how it works is when you are on their platform, the audience already trusts the platform. You don't have to convince them that you know what you're doing. So what that does is it takes those touches that we need. And I think the last study said that we need up to 9 to 12 touches, which is different than back in 2015, it was 7 touches. It has increased over time. And what it does is we get to collapse time and space with building trust with our audience, leveraging the influence of the media outlet. So what that allows you to do is get directly in front of your ideal client, almost as if it was an affiliate relationship. And it allows you to share your message, share your story, your genius, that thing that you are so brilliant at, that your people need help with, right there in the place that they trust, leveraging that influence, and then bringing them over to your platform, being part of that community that they trust. And so that's what makes it so powerful. Publicity isn't similar to social media in the way that on social media, you're putting your message out there, hoping that it resonates, hoping that the algorithm allows you to reach the right people. With publicity, you get to target them. You get to go to where they're hanging out, where they're engaged, where they already have that community built, and plug right in. And that is so powerful for your business. So as an example, when I started publishing on Business Insider, I had people in my community that had been with me for years on social media. But when they saw that column go live, They all of a sudden wanted to work with me, whereas before they were on the fence. Or likewise, they wanted to learn from me. How could they do this themselves? And it made a big difference because they could see that not only was I trusted in the community that I'd built, but I was trusted in a community that is far bigger than myself. And that's really what people are looking at. They're looking at, are you trustworthy? Do you know what you're saying? And can I trust what you're saying? So that's what publicity does for you. It gives that immediate trust and influence and allows them to build a relationship with you. And so when we do this, I predominantly focus on written articles. So that's known as contributorship or freelance journalism. That's what I focus on because it's where I see the biggest return. Podcasts are my second favorite thing to do because for most podcasts that I'm on, I will walk away with leads, with clients, all those kinds of things. So if your goal with publicity is to grow your business, podcasts and articles are a great help. Likewise, articles are fantastic because what it allows you to do is demonstrate your expertise, give implementable, valuable help ahead of time, while also showcasing your storytelling skills and allowing people to connect with you. And then what happens is you have a link in your bio on that outlet, and that outlet is SEO generated. So all media outlets are really focused on the right SEO to get the right readers. And so all of that is done for you. You don't have to learn it. You don't have to figure it out, which is great if you're like me. I'm more creative than techie. And so tech can stress me out sometimes. So knowing that I don't have to worry about this particular element and I'm still reaching millions of people at a time is huge. So that is how I like to do it, focusing on the articles, the written articles, the contributorship, and the podcasts, especially if you are someone who is a great speaker and you love people and you love to connect and you love the interaction. Podcasts are a great way to do that. And similarly, you want to have a link in those show notes that promotes a free gift of some kind, similarly to what you would have in your author bio on a website. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making with their publicity that I would love to see rectified in 2023 is utilizing their main website URL for their publicity. Now, the reason why we don't do this, and this is one of the things to avoid, is because what happens is people go to your website and there's so much to click through. There are so many options. So what we want to do is we want to send them to an opt-in or a free gift or a landing page of some kind, something that gives them one option to sign up for emails or a gift from you, and then they're part of your community. And then you can send them to your website after that. And that really gives you the power to attract the right people in and also see where they're coming from, which is really nice. So it gives you the power to capture that traffic that is hyper targeted, that has already begun the trust process with you and is interested in being part of your community. Really high value people for your community. So those are some of the things that are really powerful in 2023 that are only growing. So let's talk a little bit more about what to avoid and what to look for, what works. So now that we know that if you're a writer, contributorship is really great. And if you're a speaker, podcasts are phenomenal. And the main thing to avoid, which is, having the URL be something other than an opt-in. What we want to really look at are how to tell authentic publicity opportunities from inauthentic publicity opportunities. And this is really important. So because you are a business owner, the way that you market matters. There is this thing called the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, and they have regulations. And these regulations are actually laws, but laws sounds really harsh, so we call them regulations. And what we do is these laws and regulations tell us how we're allowed to market. And it's really important because not a lot of business owners know about this. And it also regulates what publicity is and how it works in our businesses. So when we're getting publicity, it is always organic and earned. Paying for any kind of placement puts it in the ad space. And ads are always clearly marked as ads. It's really important for the buyer experience. So when you are on, for example, let's say you get a feature in Forbes. The feature that you get in Forbes is because of your story. It's because you are so powerful, so knowledgeable, so interesting, so something that the outlet goes, you need to be in front of our people, that audience can trust that you've earned that placement. That's what we mean by earned and organic. You don't pay for it. You can't pay for it. It is your story, or the pitch that you pitched was so great that they wanted it for their audience. The reason why that's important is because audience members, readers, will look at that and they will be making buying decisions. So they will reach out to you, right? They are looking at, are you the right person for them? And that's why advertorials are always marked sponsored. So features and written articles, all of those opportunities, same thing with podcasts, they are all organic earned media. So when we get into the pay-to-play space, this is the ad space. And you have to be careful because not everyone knows these rules who plays in these spaces. The internet is an absolute amazing thing, and I freaking love it because we can start businesses and we can dive in with our genius. But it also means that other people can too. And sometimes they aren't as knowledgeable as they think that they are. And so we have to be careful about how publicity is played with. It's one of the more highly regulated pieces of business. So when you are paying to play, what that means is you are paying an outlet money to be featured or to write for them or to speak to their audience. That always must be marked sponsored, ad, or advertorial. If those things aren't happening, it breaks the FTC regulations because what it does is it takes you in a place of trust and a place of influence. And it takes away the awareness of how you got there because the implication is that it was earned. So when it's paid for, it must be marked so that people know, if I resonate, I understand that this is an ad and it's up to my discretion to reach out, right? So it just makes it more honest. And we're coming into that anyway. And I know we feel this way when we interact with each other online. If it doesn't feel honest, if it doesn't feel authentic, if it doesn't feel right, then it doesn't resonate with us anyway. So all we're talking about is having clear transparency. So when you are looking for a publicity person or to get publicity or to work with an outlet, just make sure that if you are paying to play, that it's properly marked. And there's nothing wrong with paying to play as long as it's properly marked. It's just the ad space, it's not publicity space. But the cool news is in 2023, there is more opportunity for publicity than I've ever seen before. There are more outlets, there are more editors being hired, people are reading at higher levels, and they're also listening at higher levels. There is a big expansion in knowledge and wanting knowledge and craving it. And so there is an endless opportunity for constant content on these platforms. All you have to do is find the right story and the right hook, which is what we're going to get into. So you first want to look for the right outlets. When you know the right outlet, you can generate more business. Now, this doesn't always mean the big outlets. And this is one of the most important pieces of advice that I can give you in this talk. And I'm so glad that you're here to hear it, because when we are looking for publicity, sometimes we think of the big names, the Forbes, the Inc., the Entrepreneur, but sometimes it's the smaller outlets that make the biggest difference. So for example, I wrote 3 articles on an outlet that is very small and still does not have an up-to-date website that looks like it's in the 21st century. It looks a bit out of the 90s, but it was a small niche audience and I had 40 leads, and they are still sending me leads 3 years later. It's that powerful. So I want you to think about what the right outlet is that has the right audience instead of what's the biggest one, what's the most impressive one. Because if our goal is to generate clients, we want to go where they're active. And we want to go to the place where they're seeking that specific knowledge. The other places are totally okay if you just want the feather in that cap, but that's not where we generate a lot of clients from traditionally. So that's the first thing to look for. In order to craft a great story or a great hook, you want to look at the value you can provide, the stories that you have of your own that are really relatable to your audience, the personal stories that you can share. And you want to look for opportunities to give to them. So we call these service pieces. These are pieces that give great advice, they're implementable, and they are high value. And they are top of funnel, which means we are giving advice that they need to have before they come into our community. So what is it that they need to know that they're either thinking about incorrectly, or that they have misinformation about, or that they would need to like a belief system that they would need to overcome to come into your community to learn on a deeper level, to either work with you or just enter your social media content. That's what you need to know. And that's how it flows in. So think about it a little bit more specific to the top of funnel lines, belief systems and knowledge pieces, and build that out for your publicity. Also, personal stories go a really, really long way. So when you are reaching out, you want to look specifically for the editors in the section that you want to pitch. If it's the entire outlet, that's okay. Some outlets are really small and only have one editor, but if they have more than one, you want to look specifically for the editor of the section that you want to appear in. And then if it's podcasts, you can reach out directly to the host unless they have a form to fill out. If they do have a form, fill out that form. They have that process set up for a reason. You want to honor their process that they're asking for. And then for speaking opportunities, same thing. You want to reach out to the event coordinator or the owner of the event. So those are the main ways to reach out with your story that is crafted. I hope that this was helpful. This is exactly what you need to go ahead and get publicity in 2023, what you want to avoid, and how to make the most of the opportunity. And make sure that when you can, that the URL inside of all of your publicity is a dedicated URL. So instead of your website with a backslash, it should be myoptin.com, right? No forward slash or backslash. That way, they're going directly to where you want them to go to. And it's super powerful for you to generate traffic and super powerful for them and easy to remember. So I hope this helped you. Thank you for having me. And it was an absolute joy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sitting over here like frantically in the background, poking all the buttons. And I want to say thank you for sharing really valuable information, because I think a lot of people don't really realize how earned media, how sponsored posts, how all of that works. And it can be a really like gnarly world to be in. And I would also say cultural norms are not the same across every culture. So sometimes what may be standard in one country is not standard in another. So you need to be well aware of what works in different places too.
Oh, 100%. And it's another thing I always recommend asking people, do you know what the FTC regulations are for publicity? If they cannot recite them, that is a red flag.
That is a huge red flag. You are totally correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How would somebody go about getting in touch with you?
Check out my milkshake. My milkshake is the best way to get a hold of me, and it has tons of free gifts on there. So that would be the best way. And it has all my social media too. So if you want to just say hi, feel free to say hi. I'm super friendly.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Polly. I appreciate you being here. Everybody, let's give her a huge round of applause. Tell her hi from wherever you're joining from and say thank you so much, Polly. I really appreciate you being here. And